Greetings. Today I'm going to show you what you can do with that Ruffle yarn that's been all the craze for the last couple years. Um, I don't know about you, but I'm actually kind of tired of just making just a standard old Ruffle sachet scarf. So what I did is I incorporated a way to do a hybrid, and the hybrid is going to be knitting a scarf while attaching that sachet stuff to the sides. So this tutorial is not to teach you how to knit. It's just basically going to show you a pattern and how the pattern works, and that's it. Okay, so what I did is I use a 5 ounce 5 ounce skein of yarn, and then I also use one of the sachet yarn balls as well. What I do is I split the sachet yarn ball right down the middle. So you want to pull it all out, divide it in half, and then split it. And then we can go ahead and get started here in a few seconds. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you need to do is make sure that you cast on 20 stitches. This is multiple of 20. You're going to be, this is, some people call this a potato chip scarf, some people call it a spiral scarf. It only spirals if you make it spiral, so we'll go ahead and get started. So what I've got here is I've got my 20 stitches, as you can see. And I'm using circular needles just because they're smaller and easier for me to handle than those longer needles. You don't have to use circular needles. You can go ahead and use just standard needles. The reason why we split the sachet scarf in two is because you're going to have both sides of this scarf are going to have the attachments made. Hopefully this white background will help you see better, like the holes right here. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the pattern stitch. First thing you want to do is, and this is every time that you're going into the row, you want to pick up one of those loops. Okay, so what we're going to do is a multiple of 4. So we're going to go ahead and knit 4. 1. Oops. and I know that a lot of you do the knitting with the yarn wrapped around your right hand, so please don't judge. Okay, so I got my 4. What you want to do next is you want to hit, just slip off that 5th stitch, because we're going to do a thing called a wrap and turn. If you've ever done it to where you've done ruffle scarves before, you should understand the concept of wrap and turn. So we're going to slip that, and now we're going to go back and we're going to knit back, or purl, not knit, not purl, we're going to knit. But what you want to do is after you slip that stitch, you want to bring this working stitch right here, this working thread, and bring it to the back. If you notice what it did, see how it wrapped around? It wrapped around that particular stitch. Now we're going to take that stitch and just pull it back to the other needle. So we got a successful wrap. The reason why we do this is if you were just to turn and go back and knit across this 4 again, you would end up creating a hole in your work. And we don't want a hole, so we're going to go ahead and knit those 4 back. Okay, so that's the first part of the pattern. Alright, now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and pick up another stitch, because we're going to go back towards the middle. So as you can see, this right here is your next stitch, so we'll go ahead and put that on there. And then the second row, you're actually going to knit 6. So you're going to pick up those 2 threads there. Okay, got my yarn. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, after you do your 6, you want to slip off that 7th stitch. Turn your work and take this working thread and move it to the back. And we wrapped around that 7th stitch. Go ahead and slip that 7th stitch back to the other needle, because it's not going to be worked at this time. And then just knit your 6 back. Okay, now what we want to do at this point is go ahead and do the 3rd row. The 3rd row is you're going to pick up the next loop you're always going to pick up the next loop when you start your next rows. Okay. This time you're going to do 8. So I hope you can kind of see how the pattern's working. You're picking up 2 more stitches each time. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And like all the other rows, you're going to go ahead and slip that next stitch, turn your work, pull the working thread to the back, see how it wrapped, and then go ahead and slip that stitch back to the other needle, and then work those 8 back to the beginning of the row. Okay, now we've completed this side of the ruffle part. So what we need to do now is get to the other side. So all you're going to do now for the 4th row is you're going to go ahead and pick up a loop, because we always pick up the loop right there. And for this row, you're going to go ahead and just knit across all 20 stitches. So essentially what's happening is the 4 stitches that are in the middle of this 20 stitches will never have this add-on work here, because that's going to be the core of your scarf. So when your scarf gets a little bit bigger, you're going to see that those 4 tend to get stretched out a little bit, which is fine, because again, it's holding all the weight of all these ruffles that are going around it. So we're going to go ahead and go all the way across. And if you have any questions, you can always ask the question in the comment boxes below, and I'll get back to you. I just got really bored with just making those sachet scarves, and last fall the craft store I shop at had them on sale for $1 each for clearance. So I bought like 300 different rolls of this stuff. Okay, so now that we got to the other side, you just do that same pattern on the other side, and that's the reason why we split the sachet ball in 2, so you could have your 2 separate. See how we got the 2 separate right here? So that's pretty much it. You would go through the entire 5-ounce ball, and that should make a sufficient length scarf. The needles that I'm using are size 11, just because since this is a spiral scarf, I don't really care about tight stitches, so to have the nice loose stitches is fine. Garter stitch is wonderful for this, because then it's even on both sides. If you did a stockinette stitch, it's not going to look right, because first of all, stockinette curls a little bit on the side, and then with the ruffle going around, it would just be a hot mess. So yeah, any questions, put them in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and get out there and start making some scarves for Christmas.